Alright, welcome to a brand new editor tutorial. Today, we're looking at the area triggers. The area triggers are right here. So let's start with the area move trigger. So this may seem really complicated, but I'll explain it. So length is how far the player will be from the well, first of all, we need to create a new block on group 1. So, length is how far you'll have to be in order for the movement to activate. So for now, let's set it to 60. Now, I find that XY mode is the easiest because instead of move distance and move angle, you just get X and Y. For this example, let's say I want to move it 5 blocks on the X. Whoa. Before you playtest, there's a second page. You have to give it a new effect ID, put in the target group ID, and then you can make the center whatever you want. Let's just go with player 1. Now, platformer. See? The block moves when I move. Now, there are many different settings here on the second page. This just means everything but the player. So it'll get closer to you the closer you get to it. This is everything horizontally from the player. And you can set easing for this. This is everything on the player. This one right here is everything to the right of the player. This is everything at the vertical line of the player, and to the left. This is everything above and below the player. Or when the player jumps. When the player jumps, it moves. This is basically the same thing as the last one. This is everything on the line of the player and below. So whenever I jump, it moves to its position. Let's go on the ship just to see this. So when I'm below it, it stays like that, but when I go up, it goes back to where it was. And this is everything above the player. So when I'm below, it moves to the left, but when I go above, it stays. So how about this? Let's move it 25. Move it 25 on the y-axis. It's a bit funky, so I would recommend using this one. Which is just whenever you get close to it, it moves. And this offset is how much you can add to the length. So if we add -30, then it'll be closer because that would make the length 30. See? Now, that that's all done. Oh, there is this checkbox here, DEAP. That just means don't edit area parent. So let's say I do something like this and make this the parent to group 1. If I toggle this, then the group 1 parent doesn't move, but everything else does. Now let's move on to the area rotate trigger. For this, I'm going to need to use something else that can actually rotate. How about we use this collectible? So rotation, we can just set to -90. Make this, let's make this 30 just for example. And everything still applies here. You have to make a new effect ID, do all that, and all of this is still the same. It's just that the value that you could change in the area rotate trigger is a rotation. So when I get close to it, it rotates. Now if I do everything for just the player, whenever I get really close to it, it rotates back. So let's see this with a few spikes. So whenever I get close to them, they rotate. Now if we go everything to the right of the player, it's only when I get behind it that it rotates. Alright, let's move on to the scale trigger. 60 length. This lets you control the scaling of an object. Now warning, you cannot use 0 scale, but you can use negative scale. Let's do that. Let's see. Ta-da! Then if we do that, alright, next up is the area fade, which is just opacity. Now they fade away whenever I get to them. Now they fade in when I get to them. And finally, the area tint trigger. So length 60. This one requires a color channel. So let's just do a random color. So tint color 2, and this is how much you want the object to tint. So let's say 1 for 100%. And now they turn blue whenever I'm away from them. But if I do something like this, then they tint blue when I get to them. And that is every area trigger. Now you can also combine them to make cool effects. So now, if we set the easing, then you get this effect. And let's say there is a move trigger right here to move group 1 up 5 blocks. Right now it's like this, but when I touch it and they move up, now they're like that. And that is every area trigger in one video.